Hello and welcome to Box, the football talk show brought to you by Sportology TV with myself, Ali Drew, and my co-host, Ouney. On the last show, we were joined by TalkSport's Hugh Woozencroft, who correctly predicted that it was going to be a bit of a snooze fest, 0-0 draw in the Liverpool-Man United game. He was totally correct. I wanted goals, but not to be. But on today's show,
before I introduce our guest, I said 0-0 as well. I told everyone Liverpool United is going to be 0-0. There's not going to be no goals. It was the case. So if you want to get your bets in, just talk to me. Anyway, we have got a massive guest on today. Someone who's won the Premier League, so he's footballing royalty. You don't get many of them about. A former Manchester United player, known for his time at Newcastle, and then became a champion at Leicester. He's now returning back from injury, and hopefully looking to get back onto the pitch very, very soon. None other than Danny Simpson. Danny, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yes, all good, thanks. How are you?
All good, all good. Good to have you on. We don't get many Premier League winners on. We've had a few actually, but not many. So how's life treating you at the moment?
It's okay. It's good. Obviously for everyone, everyone's in a tough situation at the moment. But everyone's in the same boat. We've got to get through it. Personally, I'm in rehab at the moment, but I'm literally now pretty much ready to go. I'm at the end of the rehab now. It's been 3 months. I'm back out on the pitch, and I'm ready to start full training and get back into it, like you mentioned a minute ago.
What's your plan now? Obviously you're a free agent, so what's the plan going forwards?
Well, obviously, it's difficult. Obviously, when you're a free agent and you're injured, it's not much really. Your age doesn't matter. You can have the best agent in the world. You can't go in. You can't train. And then obviously now with COVID and the bubbles, it's not even like you can go in and train with someone for a week. It's not as simple as it used to be. But now, once you're fully fit and you've been past fully fit, I'm at one of the best places to. I've been getting fit. Leicester have helped me out a lot, but again, I've had to be careful. I'm not really there recently because of COVID and the bubbles and the new tier. So I'm at one of the best places to get fit, which is obviously at England's training camp, St. George's. Okay. And basically now we can speak to clubs, managers. There'll be teams that will want, halfway through the season will want to stay up. Need experience. There might be teams that players have got injured. They need some bodies in. COVID has affected everybody in terms of financially. So you'd like to think, free transfers and not paying, transfer fees for clubs and for chairmans. There's teams that maybe, want to push to get promoted and need a bit, like I said, experience in the dressing room and on the pitch. So it's a lot of them things all into one, and you just got to have the right conversations and be ready.
Have them conversations been taking place now that, teams know that you're in a better place? Yeah,
like I said, now they know. And again, it's pretty straightforward as well. The physios here at England, the game changers here, the physios can literally pick up the phone and ring them, and every day my data is being tracked, as it all is now. The sports science is second to none. You're not just listening to my word or my agent's word. You're listening to physio to physio, actual physical data that you can look at where I am. So yeah, like I said, it's them there, the conversation that can be had now, and it's we can all be pretty honest. And obviously I'm not match fit, but that comes with like I said, playing games. So like I said, no, I'm excited to see hopefully the next couple of weeks. Hopefully this window has been pretty quiet for everyone, but I feel like what it's like the last week or so. It normally hots up.
Well, talking about this season as a whole, obviously it's been a bit of an interesting one, a bit different, no crowds, COVID going on. But one thing that has happened is Man United are top. They've managed to get top. Only a few weeks ago they were 14. Now they're top of the table. Obviously, you started your career at United. Are you surprised to see them in that position?
Well, if you asked me six weeks ago, then I'd say yeah. But then if we look at as a whole this season, then no, because it's a one-off crazy season that everyone is going through. It's just, everyone's having good spells, bad spells. I think if you look at when United got knocked out of the Champions League, it was doom and gloom, and a few weeks later, then you get knocked out of the cup in the semi-final, doom and gloom again, and then all of a sudden you're top of the Premier League. So no, like I said, Liverpool we've dropped off. Chelsea had a good run and they've dropped off. Tottenham started off well, they've dropped off. Man City look like they're coming good, and Leicester, obviously my overall team, no one's really speaking about them, and they're just going about their business quietly. So I just think it's going to change. We could have this conversation in a month, and it could, it could change. But I think it comes down this year to consistency and keeping players fit and managing, the new season, because games getting cancelled, getting moved. There's no fixed routine that players are used to, and it's whoever can handle it the best. There's no fans. I think this whole season is just going to be so unpredictable, and that's why it's going to be an interesting one.
Danny, I wanted to ask you, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a legend at Manchester United, somebody that you probably come across at your time there. Do you feel like when you got to know him as a player, then you see him now, do you feel like he's got the sort of attributes to take United back to the top and, win that title that, United fans and someone like me's been waiting for a good couple of years now?
Well, listen, if you look at his playing career, look at his temperament. There's not many players that had that temperament. I don't know if you've heard before, he'd be on the bench, and he would be studying the game, watching the game. Now, we're not talking about players that sat on the bench cold, can't be bothered to go and warm up quickly just to keep warm in case. Come on, he would be watching the game, paying a lot of attention to it, because if he knew, right, this is what that centre back's doing, this is what that full back's doing, this is where this is a weakness. So that's why when he come off the bench, he was so good at scoring goals, because he was studying that game and knowing that when he comes on, this is the defender I'm going to be playing against, and this is what I know what to do against him. So obviously, yeah, he played in a great team, but just you can see from there that his temperament and his understanding and watching and his knowledge of the game. Now, on the flip side of it as well is he knows the club, and he knows what it takes. And he played for one of the best managers in the world. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone who played for Sir Alex is going to be a good manager, but I think, obviously, give him time. And if we're going off it as it right now, it's moving in the right direction. So we've had other managers, United have had other managers, it's not worked out. So it seems to be working okay at the moment.
A player that I wanted to talk to you about was at the time that you were at Manchester United, there was this young star coming through the youth ranks. I used to home and away fan.
Ravel.
So Ravel was one of them. I used to go to quite a few of the youth cup games and the youth games, and I used to look at Ravel Morrison. But there's another person, Paul Pogba, who had been signed in. He was this young player at Manchester United. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Sir Alex obviously got rid of him. We've got him back. In recent weeks, he's been performing against Burnley. He was great yesterday. I felt like against Liverpool in the second half, he was good as well. For Man United to win the league, how important is Pogba's form going to be?
I think it's really important. I think you look at the Burnley game, and you can't keep relying on certain players. It's a team game. So you look at Burnley, Bruno didn't have the greatest of games, wasn't involved that much, which probably expect. It's Burnley, it's tough, it's a away game, and Pogba stepped up. Now, do we all want to see more of that? Of course we do. You're coming with a big price tag, and I think the only thing is, like, anything that's any criticism that Paul's got or been getting is only because people know that he can do better. It's not no one saying he's a bad player. It's just knowing that he can do more, and he can score more, and he can assist more, and he can he can control the games more and bully people more because of his look at the size of him, his pace, his power. So he's going to be very important. But everyone is. The players are just as important coming off the bench. Fringe players, everyone's going to have to play the part. But obviously, you look at your men, like I said, your Pogba's, your Brunos, Marcus. These players are the ones that you look to if you want to win a title. And yeah, they've got to be performing week in, week out to the best of their ability while playing for Man United.
When you were there, actually, was Pogba and Ravel and these lot training with you guys at some point? I know you were there.
I was a few years older than them, but obviously you obviously Jesse, Pogba, Ravel, they was all in the same kind of teams, and if anything, they all looked up to Ravel, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which is mad to think. So yeah, we knew all about them. But yeah, the three that we're talking about, two of them are still at United and the other one's not. So, if football takes you in different paths. But yeah, I said out of that age group that Paul was in with Jesse and Ravel, it was Ravel that everyone was kind of pinning their hopes on, to be honest.
Well, what did you make of Ravel? Because I went to watch quite a few of the United youth games back in the day, and he was phenomenal. At the same time, Raheem Sterling was coming through the Liverpool ranks. I went to watch United Liverpool FA Youth Cup. Raheem Sterling ran the show. Ravel was playing and whatever else. But then you see the sort of careers that they've had now. Raheem Sterling's at the top of his career, and Ravel's unfortunately it's just never worked out for him. What do you make of his professional career?
Yeah, he's not what ask anybody from Rio Ferdinand, Sir Alex to Giggs. He's not gone anywhere near where it could have gone because he did things with a football that I've not seen many people do. Just naturally gifted, naturally talented, and he should be playing for England. He should be running the show, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Whether off the pitch things happen, bad decisions, bad moves, it can happen. I think we all look at his little spell at West Ham, where he scored that goal against Tottenham, and we all thought, right, this is him now. He ran from the halfway line, and again, it just didn't happen. And it's just one of them things. And maybe, he's still maybe only 28, but I think he's just left. His contract's been terminated as well from the team in Den Haag, I think it is. But yeah, I'd love to see him, back up where I think he should be. But time's running out, unfortunately. How many chances will he get?
Well, another team that you played for, Newcastle, they're not having the best run of form. They haven't won a game, I think, since early December, and they're in 15th in the table. What do you make of their season, and can they turn things around?
Yeah, it's a difficult one with Newcastle because, that's again, if it, not so long ago, I think they were right up there. I think they'd had a bet at whatever point it was. I think they'd had a better start than under Benitez. So they had some good signings. I think it's tough. I understand the Newcastle fans. I listen to Alan Shearer and he's been a lot, and I listen to them fans, and they're just dying for a trophy, aren't they? They just want to see the team up there again, and getting a trophy. And I think the cup, I think it was a cup exit. I think was probably disappointing. Because Newcastle, why not try and you want to be trying to get to a final with a club like Newcastle, and I think it's been a long time. But listen, I think Steve's doing an okay job. He's had a lot to deal with, with the COVID situation. So I think he's doing what he can, to be honest with you, and maybe he needs one or two more bodies in this transfer window if he's got some money available to him, because you can't keep relying on Callum Wilson. Saint Maximum, yes, great player, but I think you need a few more that are going to chip in with goals if you want Newcastle to get some more points, because there's only a couple of players that are going to get you goals.
Danny, as a football fan that used to go home and away, we know something about Newcastle, that their fan base is great, the Toon Army. How do you feel like they embraced you when you were there for the couple of seasons you were there for?
No, it was good. Like my 4 years at Newcastle, regardless of how I left or how the fans look at me, how I left, like that 4 years I was there was probably one of the best spells that they've had, and they can't deny that. So first season, you get the relegated from our first season, we win the league, you get back into the Premier League. We had a respectable mid-table-ish season. Third season, we finished 5th in the league. I think the back 4, back 5, I think we had the best clean sheet record that season. And then, you go into, people forget we were 3 points off getting into the Champions League. And people forget that. The team, Ben Arthur, Cabaye, Theoe, obviously he's not here with us now. Demba Ba, Papi Cisse, the team was really good. And I think people forget that. And then we was in the Europa League, and we got to the quarterfinals. And against Benfica, and nearly got to the semis, I think maybe by 1 goal. So for me personally, the 4 years was great. And the way I left is the way I left, and that was Mike Ashley, and that wasn't anything to do with the club or the fans or the manager.
Well, another team that we obviously have to talk about is Leicester. Obviously, you had great success with them. They've, as you say in the introduction, they sort of have quietly crept up to 3rd. So obviously they've gone ahead of Liverpool. It's been a good season so far, but as you say, it's sort of gone under the radar. Like, not many people have actually been talking about them, really. I've heard a lot of other, the other teams, sort of Liverpool, United, at the start, people were saying Tottenham, but Leicester sort of just crept up there.
Yeah, and it's nice to see my 2 teams up there, to be honest. I'm enjoying it a lot. It's making my my day to day easier. Now listen, I think I speak to the lads still. Obviously I've not been in a training ground for a while. I've been to the new one, which is amazing. It shows how far Leicester have come. But listen, I think they're happy that no one's talking about them. Let them do the business. Keep go under the radar, keep getting the wins. Listen, I think it's mad because I think they're a few points off what they had last season at this stage, which is mad to think. And there's second. So no, listen, they've got a great team. Again, the recruitment's been unbelievable. So some of the players, and you look at the ages of some of the players. The young, Fofana's 20, Maddison, Tielemans 24, Justin 22. I think Soyuncu maybe 23. You're looking at this. There's a good, Barnes. He's young. Hamza Chowdhury. You're looking at a good crop of players there that I've got. If Leicester can keep them together 5 or 6 years of, some great talented players that could stick together if they can. Obviously, with some of the main men, which are more my age, which is Yvadis, Caspers, and Johnny Evans. And you also need that in a dressing room. You need experience and youth, and they've got a good blend of that. And Vardy up front, and the players that they've got, Maddison, Tielemans, we keep mentioning, Barnes has scored 10 goals now. So I think it's a good blend, and I won't be surprised. I hope that they've learned from last season, started well and then tailed off. So maybe they've learned from that, and they can keep going all the way through the end of the season and try. I know they want to get in the Champions League and push up in places.
Well, I was going to ask you about your standout player for Leicester, but you've named them all, so I don't think I'm not sure you've got one.
Every single one.
No. Do you know what? I think Justin. I think at the minute he's been up there as one of the better players. He's been asked to play left wing back, right wing back, left back, right of a free, left of a free. And then players are important that you can rely on and play in all these different positions and get a solid 7, 8 out of 10 every week. We obviously, like I said, we know what Vardy can do. We know what Maddison. For me, Maddison is coming out, got over his injuries, starting to get his goals and assists now, which is good to see. So yeah, I think Mad is coming into form. Barnes has got as many goals as he has already last season, and yeah, Justin. So yeah, that's it. Fofana looked good. So yeah, I'll mention a few. I'll leave it at that.
Danny, before Ali asks you the last question that we ask all our sort of former football players, I want to ask you about Wayne Rooney. Retired from football finally. Obviously, he's going to become just his full-time manager at Derby. He was there before, but he was a player manager. But talk to me about Wazza. How much of a great player was he? Because everyone that talks about him and shared the pitch with him says how great a player he was.
I'll be honest with you, I've heard some nonsense, and there's some stuff recently on social media. Like, he weren't this, he weren't that. Like, come on. The guy is top goal scorer for Manchester United and England, and I'm hearing, it's because of longevity. Well, longevity isn't just, that means he was fit and available at that top level for that amount of time. Like, people can't win. What do you want him to do? He was 16, 17 and played at that top level for them top clubs and your national for all that many, for 15, 17, 18 years. Come on. And yeah, for me, listen, I remember the day he walked in, and he just had that presence about him. And again, people keep going on about goal scoring records and if you do an average, it was this a year. Well, it wasn't just about that. He was a team player.
He played everywhere, man.
He was one of the players who could play in different positions.
Listen, he wasn't about being a selfish player. There's strikers out there that if they get the goal, team loses, they get their goal, they're happy. That wasn't him. He would rather the team win and him not score. He didn't care about individual records. And he was just a passionate player. And he stepped on that white line. He wanted to win. And they're the players you want in your team. We know he could score goals. He could do everything with a ball. He'll run back 50 yards. He'll tackle. Look what he did. I remember I saw a clip when he was in America, and he tackled his halfway line and he pinged it across and set up and this is Wayne Rooney playing in America, right? He didn't have to do that. He could go to America and just pop it about, you know what I mean? And that for me summed him up as a player, like his desire, his will to win. Obviously his ability was second to none, and I think over time, we'll start. He deserves. I think he deserves a lot more respect than maybe he's being shown, to be honest. Because he was, I think for me, he's a United legend, and I don't think he could have done much more unless he was selfish and sat in a box and scored more goals. But that wasn't him.
I'm still to wait for a player in the Premier League to have a debut like he did. Came on in the Champions League. He started in the Champions League against Fenerbahce, scored a hat-trick. He was this 18-year-old, pimple-faced, boy he looked young, but he just ran the show.
Yeah, and this is the thing we talk. You got to look at it like it probably wasn't easy to leave Everton and go across the board to Man United. With all them players and big characters, and set and just score an hat-trick on your day, and not even just that. Like I said, keeping up the level. We can talk about all these players who, like we said before, Ravel and all these players that, he's got this ability, he could have done this, could have done that. Well, he did it. And he did it till the day he's just decided to become a manager. So, he went back to Everton. I saw the goal where he pinged it in from behind the halfway line, one touch. I don't know who's against, maybe Aston Villa or Tottenham. One touch, zing. And I just think, like I said, it's sad, he's retired, and would have been nice if we knew it was his last game, and we had fans and he could get a nice send off and stuff like that. But ultimately, he's been given an opportunity that he wants and he wanted, and I hope it goes well for him, and I really do, and I'm sure it will.
Actually, keeping up the level you just said there, there was something that came up on Twitter, and it showed the 2009 double winning team, showed the Champions League team, when they take that picture, and they had grayed out all the people who had retired. I think the only person that's actually left might be Tevez. He might be playing somewhere. I'm not sure if he is. But Cristiano Ronaldo was the one that was highlighted. He's the only one that, is still playing. What did you when you used to see Cristiano back in the day? Did you ever envisage him becoming this monster of a player that he has become now, and becoming probably one of the best players to ever play football?
I'd say yeah. I'd say on day one when him walking in, no. But there was a point when he came back after a year, one summer, and he just came back and he was a machine. He just filled out. He was just, I don't know. He just literally must have spent the whole summer just working. And then it doesn't surprise me, because that was all he did every single day, was make himself the best in the gym, on the pitch, practicing. His diet was second to none. He was just everything in every area of his life was all about becoming the best. And obviously, yeah, you can all do that, but you still got to have the ability to match it. And he did. So, and I think, again, you talk about longevity, he's had to adapt his game in a way probably like Giggsy did. You know, Giggsy was flying up and down the wing, had to adapt his game, played a bit more inside, and Ronaldo's done the same, where we see him now as a number 9, and he's like a fox in a box. The kind of goals he gets now are probably not what he got 10 years ago. Again, longevity, looking after himself, and his desire. Again, his desire. You know, he doesn't have to be doing this anymore. He doesn't need. You know, he's won everything he could win, and then a World Cup. Individually, he's won everything he could win. So it just comes down to him as a person, I think.
Well, before we finish, we may already have had the answer, but we always ask players who come on who the greatest player that they ever played alongside was.
No, I've not answered this yet.
Oh, good.
Scholes.
Oh, okay. You know, before you continue, there's always 2 players that get mentioned: Scholesy and Steven Gerrard. Go on, tell us why.
He's just a genius, mate. You train with him. If you was on his team, you won. His brain was too quick. He just, you know, his passing ability, his technique, his vision, his understanding, everything. Like, he was just the way he controlled the game. It was just, yeah. It was. Like I said, I used to watch sometimes and just be like, wow. And the only thing for me was sad that we didn't get to see enough of him, his ability in an England shirt in that midfield. But yeah, I think Scholesy is up there, and probably I'll just drop another one in there because he's such a nice man and he's so good at what he does. He's Kante.
Okay.
Well, what? And I used to see the things he could do, which is opposite to Scholesy. In terms of as defensive midfielder, was unbelievable. When he came from nowhere, I didn't know that was him, and then all of a sudden, he just became this little machine in midfield. So I think for them 2, I think for me, and that what a centre mid that would be.
Actually, when I used to go to Old Trafford, watching Scholesy was just probably my highlight. Scholesy's been my favourite player of this new era. Cantona was the one that got me into United and into football, but Scholesy was the one. Actually, then going off what you're saying, who's the best player you've shared a pitch with? So somebody you played up, being your opposition.
Oh, Messi. Oh no, it's hard, man. No, it's hard that. Because obviously I've played with Ronaldo, and then I was fortunate enough to play against Messi.
Okay.
In a pre-season game in Stockholm, Leicester against Barcelona. And to be fair, as good as he is, I seen with you know, on the pitch, it was unbelievable what I seen. But I'd have to say Ronaldo, though. I can't go against it. I'll stick by it. He's self-made. He's made him into what he is. You know, Messi's has just been naturally gifted with that, and Ronaldo to do it in 3 leagues and you know, left foot, right foot, headers, everything. His desire. I have to say Ronaldo. So yeah, I'm very fortunate to have played with Ronaldo, and yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
You are sport for choice, to be fair. You've played some good ones. Yeah. Danny, thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the rest of your rehabilitation. Can't wait to see you back out on the pitch.
Thank you very much. Cheers for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Great to be joined there by Danny Simpson, and we look forward to seeing him back on the pitch in no time. But stay tuned. In part 2, we have another great guest. We are joined by presenter Nick Bright. So stay tuned. Guys, please do what you can. Support the channel. Subscribe, leave some comments, share, whatever you can. We appreciate it, and we will see you next time.